Hey guys, what's up? We are continuing with our AFC team previews. I'm going to be going over the Baltimore Ravens with you. Thanks for coming along for the flight. Let's get started. Ravens heading into 2019. John Harbaugh is still the coach. He is, in fact, the winningest coach in franchise history. Ravens, they're an interesting team. They don't have a ton of fantasy value, but they're interesting for some other reasons. They totally revamped their whole offensive philosophy, going to more of a running quarterback system, a very run-heavy system, which is not what we typically see with teams in this era of the NFL. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. It doesn't normally play out too well with most teams, but it'll be interesting to keep an eye on in 2019 in Baltimore. Going to be running the ball a lot, like I said, and just trying to do enough to get by in the passing game. Defense has been their calling card for as long as I can remember. They did lose Terrell Suggs, Zadarius Smith, C.J. Mosley, and Eric Weddle, all departed in free agency. They did bring in some help. Earl Thomas came in to replace Weddle at safety. Shane Ray and Pernell McPhee on the defensive line. So they did do some things to help replace the talent that they lost, but will it be enough? That remains to be seen in 2019. All right, first guy I want to go over, Lamar Jackson. Now, he can run really fast, and I urge you to run just as fast away from him in your fantasy draft as you can. He's bad. We're talking about possibly the worst arm talent in the league, especially for starting quarterbacks. I don't even think that's close. Just really bad arm talent as far as strength and accuracy. Accuracy at all three levels is not great, but the deeper you go downfield, the less accurate he gets. So that's not good, obviously. Body type, small, thin and slender and tall, not a great combination. We saw RG3. He did not have a ton of mass to him, so he was injury prone a bit. And another reason I would run far away from him. Defenses have had a year to study his film, study what the Ravens did in 2018, and that scares me. We saw the Chargers when they played the Ravens in the playoffs for the second time last year. They shut down the Ravens running game a whole lot better than they did the first time around. That's scary. Lastly, he fumbled 15 times last year in seven games plus the playoffs. That's not good. That's almost 2 fumbles per game. And that's a really scary number, especially if he loses those fumbles. That's a negative 2 points for every lost fumble in most leagues. So there's 4 big reasons why you want to stay away from him. I don't see him going for more than 3,000 yards. Mitch Trubisky, not a great passer. He threw for 32 or 3,300 yards last year. I see Lamar Jackson falling under that 3,000 mark. He will rush for 800 to 1,000 yards, in my opinion, which is great, obviously. But if you combine 3,000 passing yards with 800 yards rushing, or 1,000 yards rushing, that is only 220 points on the year. Throw in the TDs. It's going to be hard for him to reach 300 points, which is not a point total for a fantasy quarterback. He will have some value, spot start, if your normal quarterback is going through a rough stretch or he's on his bye week. You can maybe pick up Lamar Jackson for a week, but I would not trust him for more than that. Moving on, Mark Ingram. He made the trip up from New Orleans to Baltimore, leaving the Saints, who he played for his whole career, and moving up to be more. I think he still has some gas left in the tank, but he's scary as well. The surrounding talent is nothing like it was during his time in New Orleans. There's no Alvin Kamara. There's no Michael Thomas. Drew Brees is not throwing him the ball or running their offense. So I think defenses will really be able to key in on Mark Ingram. I think defenses are going to stack the box a lot because they do so much running the ball. Defenses are going to want to see Lamar Jackson beat them. They're going to make him beat him with his arm. And that really scares me. I foresee a lot of eight defenders in the box. when teams are playing the Ravens, and I don't think Mark Ingram has that elite level athleticism and talent to really produce even when the box is stacked. Like I said, I touched on the defense a little bit in the intro. They do scare me a bit. I think they will take a step back with all the talent that they lost, and I feel like the Ravens may be playing catch-up a bit more than they're accustomed to, forcing the Ravens to try to throw the ball more and get more productive in the air game. So those are all reasons I'm scared of Mark Ingram. Now, he could be a low-end RB2 flex option for you. If he's there at good value, go ahead and pick him up if you really like him. But he's not my cup of tea heading into 2019. Last guy I'm going to talk about, and yes, it is a kicker, Justin Tucker. He has been legit in fantasy. Actually, my league that I run, we took the kicker out, the kicker and the defense. But if you are in a league where the kickers are incorporated, draft Justin Tucker. He's probably the best player in fantasy on the Ravens this year, not going to lie. Pretty much you can count on him being the kicker 1 or 2 at the end of the year. He is deadly accurate, especially from 50 yards out. I think he's the most accurate kicker in NFL history from 50 yards out. So that's great. Most of those field goals are 5 points, which is that's a huge bonus for your team every week. He's projected to score 5 points or less in just 3 games. He's predicted to go over 10 points in 9 games this year. If you can get 10 points from your kicker 9 times out of the fantasy season, that is a fantastic number. Having a good kicker really can make up for a deficiency. Say you have a really bad tight end situation. If Justin Tucker can make up 2 or 3 or 4 of those points for you every week, it sort of masks some of your talent deficiencies on your roster. That is all I have. Thanks for checking us out. Follow us on Twitter, FF_pilots. Follow me on Twitter at Dustin_FP. And thanks for tuning in. Hit that subscribe button below and stay tuned. Coming back at you soon.